What is going on? Welcome to Rue's Reviews. I am Rue, aka the Culture Black Kid, here with,
Iffy.
yes, my co-host, and today we are reviewing the latest and debut project from Shady Nasty, Trek. They are a three-piece group band from you're a Sydney alternative punk
Yeah, it's
indie
hard to pinpoint
for
what they
sure.
are.
Maybe a smidge. I thought there was a smidge of hip hop in there,
I
but I
I
don't know.
still
Maybe it's a
I think
delivery.
there is. I think it's like just Oz rap. I
Yeah.
literally just call it Oz rap. Like
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. But no matter what it is, again, like I said, debut project, Trek. Last project they released that was in full was Club Smoke back in 2021. Nice 4-track EP. They got one more EP that came before that as well. And yeah, I heard a lot of positive things about this project, especially through a fire write up on the FBI radio page.
shout out Lindsay Riley.
Yes, and yeah, definitely did my Googles and my read through of it. And yeah, it definitely gives a lot of context that was
Yeah.
very needed
Yeah.
for, especially for someone like me, for a project like this. So yeah, I'm very excited to delve into it a little bit more. And yeah, Iffy, I'm curious what your overall thoughts.
I I loved it. Like this was such a long awaited debut for
Mm-hmm.
them. And it's like in a weird way, like a weird love letter to Sydney. I can't
Mm-hmm.
explain it, but their sound is so integral to what Sydney can produce and
Mm-hmm.
create, and it warms my heart so much. I loved it so much. I wish it was longer. Like it should have been longer, and I'm gonna get into that. But I think it's a standout from them. Should
Okay.
have been done way earlier.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I love how raw and vulnerable
Yeah.
this project is. You can hear the emotion, which I'll definitely get into more. Um, it's not I have cons. I just have curious thoughts. About just again my personal approach to music and stuff like that. So it's less of a con. I don't really have cons
Yeah.
on this. It's more just understandings.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I'll definitely get into that a lot more as this review goes on. But yeah, speaking of, let's get into some pros. Um, I'll kick it off, seeing as I mentioned the raw and vulnerable part. Yeah, I definitely think you can hear a lot of the emotion in every single song. Production feels very cinematic, to be honest. You know, any avid listener, um, any listener who just passing,
Yeah.
listener in passing, would listen to be like, okay, it's very, it feels very rock, but it feels very spacey, but the performance is very, whatever. But I don't know, just the way that like some of the electric guitars linger, it's kind of eerie.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, it gives like this very cinematic vibe to the whole project, which then ties back into like love letter to Sydney, and some of the themes and topics and pictures they paint
Yeah.
throughout the project, which I love. I think the length is perfect. I think it's really good. I don't think they needed to touch on any more at this current moment. I think what they, maybe two more songs, but I think eight. Yep,
Yeah.
8. I think 8 is it was great.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm curious to hear why you think it should be a bit longer. Um, and for me, I think my favorite song is Cared Bruh, which I think was the first one I heard.
Yeah.
In the I think probably my introduction as well. Which I think had a really dope sentiment, and again, the aesthetic, vocally, production wise, with the topic, and also again that super Aussie aesthetic that again is mentioned a lot in this FBI
Yeah.
write up, where it's kind of like the whole they subvert the paradigm when it comes to their how they look, but some of the things they're talking about that's a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I know Screwdriver was brought up a lot in that, and people have mentioned Screwdriver a lot, but for me, Cared Bra was the one that
Yeah.
I resonated with most when it comes to that contrast.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was some of
Whew.
your pros?
Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. Like, obviously, just a solid album. I want to get that sorted. Obviously, we know this, but front to back, like, I had no like complications listening to it. And you pretty much touched on what I wanted to say, like the rawness, the vulnerability, and even just the personality in this project is sublime. It is like so out there, and they're so like unapologetically themselves. It's crazy. But yeah, even like with that write up from Lindsay, it's kind of like the juxtaposition of how they look in themselves and what they're kind of, letting out. It's crazy. I love that so much. Another pro, I love like I'm going to use juxtaposition again, but I love the juxtaposition in the production and then also the lyrics and like the sonics, like the live instrumentals with that Aussie rap.
Yeah.
Bang on. And with Aussie rap, I feel like we're leaning towards like that cloud rap kind of, regime. But I
sure.
love the fact that they're kind of like bringing it back. It reminds me of the stuff that came out in like the early 2000s, 2010s, very Hilltop Hoods in a way.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
Damn, okay.
I'd say more again, more cursor esque.
I agree.
Not exactly.
No,
but if we're gonna reference, I feel like it's more in a cursor lane. It's more, than Hilltop Hoods. Hilltop Hoods was still very much straight, very 90s hip hop, but in the early thousands with the scratching and the, So that's who I would reference.
No, I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Cursor blew my mind. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved how distinct they are with their sound. As I said, really integral to Sydney, bang on with it.
Yep.
And also as a debut, this is just an amazing project to kind of like formally introduce, people to.
Yeah.
Like, it's like crazy. It is so crazy to me. In terms of songs, I love to Kedra, I loved it, but like Screwdriver, like it gets me.
Talk more on
It
that, for
gets
sure.
me so much. And like from the moment this was, I think maybe their last single. I'm not too sure, but from the moment it came out as a single, I was obsessed. Everything about it. The production is crazy. The lyrics, the flow, 10 out of 10. And yeah, once again, really reminiscent of like just like a distinct Aussie rap sound. And yeah, commend them for that one. And then also the one right after that, AE86. I love how dark that one is.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that is everything a Shady Nasty song really is. I do love those two songs, and like coming from one to the other, I was like, gorgeous.
No, for
but
sure.
yeah, those are my pros.
Okay. Bet. Well, with pros, maybe can come some cons.
Yes.
Iffy, what are some of your cons?
So as I said, pretty much the only con for me is that I wanted it to be longer, and it doesn't really come from like any actual reasoning. It's more so one, I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted more, but two, like if I had to get, and it's such a nitpick, but it's like, I don't know, like they've been at this for a while.
Yep.
I feel like they could have just even waited a bit more. Like the thing is, it's what you said as well. Like it have like that time and the songs were perfect, and it created no room for error. Adding songs creates room for error.
Yeah.
But it's just because I wanted more. It's literally it. I think they could have done like I don't know, 45 minutes is always to me great for an album. I'm stuck on the 45 minutes. 30 minutes is like, it felt like an EP.
Yeah.
It felt like an EP.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. But I just wanted it longer purely because of obsession.
No, 100%. 100%. Yeah, and I get that. I get that. I think, who was I talking to? I think it was me and Ajale or Jerry. We were talking about the Maina Doe project from last year, where we were like, yeah, we, would have loved if there was there was more songs.
Yeah.
Which I get. And definitely personal reasons. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think 45 minutes would have served this project nicely. I think the 20 minutes, 22 minutes roughly, was the perfect length to convey what they wanted to convey.
Yeah.
Now, if they come up with a 45 project later in the future, not mad at that. But I think with this, what they needed to convey on this, I think 20 minutes. But again, that's your personal feelings. And yeah, my one, again, like I said, not a con, not at all. I think it's just my personal journey with music and hip hop. Sorry. Um, well, yeah, hip hop, but, the accent.
Yeah.
I keep saying hip hop. I don't want to just feel like this is a hip hop project because it's not a hip hop
It's
project.
not.
It literally says punk on the Apple Music right here. So, I don't want to keep saying hip hop, but again, I feel as a rapper, it felt like some of the delivery
Yeah.
felt very hip
That's
hop
what I would
esque.
like. That's why I said Aussie rap. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
So yeah, don't misconstrue that. However, some of the performances with the accent and some of the topics, again, it's more just not my lived experience. Especially as someone growing up in Sydney, even being from a place like Campbelltown, where this is probably very much a strong, life, or it resonates with a lot of people from that or the southwest or the western Sydney and stuff like that. But yeah, so I don't know. I was kind of going back and forth, but again, the reason why I'm not saying this is a con, and I don't want you to think it's a con, is again because it's like there's so much music that I love that's not in from worlds that resonates with me. It's a reason why J. Cole is my favorite artist, but at the same time, there's a reason why I love a 21 Savage song, or the reason why I'd love a, anyone else that's lived a completely different experience to
Yeah.
me. So I definitely don't want to feel like that's taking away from the project, because it is not. It's just, as I continue to listen more to projects, I guess I'm still getting used to the like that strong of an Aussie accent with that strong of like those topics.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about it. And I definitely want to not put myself in the, but put myself in their world in a metaphorical sense.
It's funny because like even with like the topic of the accents, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if this maybe this is bad, but I've always strayed away from
No,
music
100%.
like this because I feel like I'm like you, like I have once again not hip hop but like
Yes.
has those elements. So
Yeah.
I feel like even with like any kind of Oz music that kind of skews this way, I have a very like indented sense of like what it should sound like, but it's music, it's art. So I don't know, like I've always like straight away, even because of like the accents and how heavy it is.
Yep.
Considering it's so funny because you listen to me and it's whatever. But yeah, I don't know, like listening to this project, it's comfortable. It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
So
You can hear it in the delivery and the
Yeah.
performance. It's very, again, it's barely performed. It's more even like the project almost feels like close to spoken word. I feel like you as a
Yeah.
poet could understand some of
Yeah.
the approach to how the songs are performed, and it's almost again in a spoken word
Yeah.
type of thing. So, yeah. I also, as a final thing on it, and again, this is a super me thing, but it also might just be me being a private school kid, and growing up in areas that is completely away, or also looking down on areas and aesthetics like this,
Yeah.
that has given me this stray away, or this is kind of
Yeah.
how you're doing. So now I have to like teach myself
Yeah.
about, no, but like, you can see it this way, but there's clearly a lot of vulnerability and
Yeah.
emotion and all that stuff that is amazing in this
Yeah.
project that I'm still learning about. So
I love that viewpoint.
Yeah.
Genuinely so much. And I'm the opposite end of that coin. Like I was a public school, Southwest public school.
Yeah.
So like I've always been heavily integrated into this culture.
Yep.
And so like, listening to this I was like, this feels like, that's why I was like, it feels like it's like
Yeah.
wow, like it's so reminiscent, and it's like genuinely a love letter to me. And like growing up I'm like, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I love it. I love it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So take that how you will, but yeah, that's I'd love to discuss that more if you have thoughts. But anyway, let's get into our final rating. So if this is your first time watching, listening, here is the rating system. We are here for this. It depends on the day whether we're here for this or not, or you're feeling iffy about it. Iffy.
Oh
How are
yeah.
you feeling about this?
I'm here for this. Of course, like there's no two ways about it, and like you kind of saw it coming. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
But yeah, any day of the year for the rest of my life, like I'm here for this. And
Mhm.
this album, as I said, is like a direct and intentional, passionate project
Mhm.
that correlates with like certain parts of the communities within
Mhm.
Sydney, and it correlates with our time now and the sounds we're hearing and that Sydney is providing.
Mhm.
And yeah, Shady Nasty have hit the ball out of the park for this one. As a debut,
Mhm.
it is crazy.
Mhm.
I can't fault a single thing apart from the fact that I wish it was longer. Like I'm so like I have to speak with y'all because do more.
No, for sure.
But yeah, truly a stunning album, and I cannot wait for more from them. I'm excited.
For sure. For sure. And I share the sentiments with I am very excited to hear what is next, and you know that this is my introduction. For me, it depends on the
I
day.
gotta go. I gotta.
However, I wrote, and it will make sense through my review. It's made sense. Hopefully, it made sense through my review. I wrote, need more time to digest it, but give me a couple more weeks, and we'll be here for this
Yeah.
for sure. And I can almost predict this will be 100% on one of my end of year lists.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it.
Yeah.
And I just need to sit with it a bit more. Again, I feel like it's been too short of a time. I feel like, again, based on my past experiences and what I've mentioned, I need to again and get
Yeah.
myself in that world, get myself in that
That's
mindset.
it's understandable. And like even when you said like it kind of feels like spoken word because it is so even like topic heavy.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4 listens are not going to be enough to kind of digest
No,
what they are trying to
for
convey.
sure.
I get it.
And like some of the lyrics feel super simple,
Yeah.
but it's like no, you
It's
gotta
like
you gotta
like
sit
you
there, you
have
gotta
to sit
deep it.
there. Yeah. Mhm.
No, for sure. So, yeah, depends on the day, but trust. If you get back to me in a month, it will be a here for this.
End of year 2025 review. Trust.
Yes. Stay tuned. But anyway, Shady Nasty Trek. Make sure you go check it out. Support local music for sure.
Please.
And yeah, that is our review of their project on Bruise Reviews. I always try and think of where my mind is gonna go. It's just it's crazy. I am Ru, okay, the Culture Black Kid,
I'm Iffy.
and we'll catch you next time. Peace.